Why 1922? Why mark that year's centenary with a book? It's not 1914 or 1939 when a world war began. It's not 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down and the Cold War was consigned to history. But 1922 was a pivotal year in 20th century history. 4 years after the end of the First World War, the world was changing. In 1922, old states and empires were coming to an end and new regimes were being created. In the arts, traditional forms were faltering, and writers, musicians, and painters were seeking different means of expressing themselves. In society, already changed by the trauma of war, the conventions and morals of the past seemed increasingly outmoded. New ways of thinking and behaving were making their appearance. In Europe, dangerous ideologies were emerging. Mussolini led his march on Rome and came to power in Italy, the first fascist leader in charge of a country. In Germany, the foreign minister, Walter Rathenau, was assassinated by members of an ultranationalist anti-Semitic group. And in Munich, an obscure right-wing demagogue named Adolf Hitler served a month in prison for attacking a political opponent. Meanwhile, Britain's empire reached its greatest extent, but the heyday of Victorian confidence was gone. Ireland had won its independence and the Irish Free State was established. In India, opposition to the Raj was rising. At home, Lloyd George's coalition government collapsed and a new Tory government took charge. The Russian Civil War ended and the USSR officially came into being, although its inspirational leader, Lenin, suffered the first of a series of strokes which would result in his death 2 years later. After more than 600 years, the Ottoman Empire came to an end and its last sultan went into exile. In the USA, Warren Harding was president. Prohibition was at its height. So too was Hollywood, where a series of scandals fascinated the public. The film director William Desmond Taylor was murdered in a mystery that remains unsolved. Comedian Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle went on trial for the second time for alleged rape and manslaughter. In literature, it was the year of peak modernism. Both T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land and James Joyce's Ulysses were first published in full. So too was F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Beautiful and the Damned, arguably the first novel of what was to become known as the Jazz Age. 1922 also saw the discovery by Howard Carter of Tutankhamun's tomb, the death of Ernest Shackleton, which brought to an end the golden age of polar exploration, the first successful treatment of diabetes with insulin, and the founding of the BBC. It was a year of enormous diversity, upheaval, and drama around the world. My book will reflect all that and more.